Hey folks, and welcome back, and today we're going to be looking at another potential fake being sold. We will have a quick look at the tip-off I got this morning. Now this, if you remember a while back, is this video, the Chibson dealer selling Chibson guitars, and I told you about the law on fakes, and I got a message this morning, or at least overnight, saying, my buddy Chris Hawkins said, looks like Rich Tone don't listen, fake Gibson Les Paul on there today, time to throw him under the bus. Obviously I went to have a look and I couldn't find anything, and I did see the guitar in question, and we'll have a closer look at it. So I asked if he could send me the link. He very kindly did, and we'll dive on over to Rich Tone Music, and there we go. There's the guitar in question, and it's selling for £2,149, and immediately it kind of jumps out. It does, because of this, the fact that it's got no ABR bridge on it, and that should be a big warning sign before we start. And also when you go through and look at some of the pictures of this guitar, which we'll do now, one of the things I noticed is that the headstock has almost a gold inlay. Now the Pro series in 1978 had a very definite mother of pearl light silver coloured Gibson logo on the headstock, whereas this doesn't. Everything else looks pretty close. Now one of the things that gives away Chibsons versus Gibsons is the pickup control knobs. Now if these are pretty parallel, which these look close to it, and they don't create a diverging or a converging line, then that's one of the tells that you can tell, because obviously we haven't got the pickup surrounds on this guitar because it's a P90 style guitar. But if these diverge or converge, which this actually slightly looks like it does, this knob here looks to be a little high, and these should all be absolutely parallel in both directions, creating straight lines, but this one kind of doesn't, and that got me a little bit suspect as well. And there we go, the fact that this headstock has got the gold Gibson logo was a bit of a worry, although I have to say that the aging around the nut and also the Pro plate, the truss rod cover, do look absolutely spot on. So I looked a bit further. Now this was a little bit of a concern because I can't actually make out the serial number there. Now on black guitars it often is incredibly difficult. If you get the light in the right angle, you can't see a serial number, and this could well be, it looks like there might be the hint of a serial number under there. Now one thing I do know is that these tuners are definitely period correct for 1978, the Pro model. There were a couple of options. You could have cloisons, but these Gibson tuners in this shape, and I'll show you this in a moment somewhere else, but they're absolutely period correct. Now look, you don't expect to see that on the back of a Gibson Les Paul, and clearly somebody had decided to create a Les Paul with a trem, and I think this picture kind of shows it almost, but I'll show you another picture in a minute. If you look there, there is the faintest little circle of the old ABR stop tail, and we'll look in a little bit more detail. One of the things I noticed was that there are no binding nib ends to these frets, which you kind of do expect on most Les Paul guitars back to the 70s, but I don't believe that the Pro had those nib ends on them. Okay, we're going to go a little closer, there we go, so we can see. And all this binding is either incredibly well aged if it is a fake, or as I'm going to suggest in this video, I think this guitar actually is legitimate. It's got a fair bit of damage to the headstock as well, and a little bit of a dink there around the 11th fret by the looks of it. So yeah, I'm thinking that this is pretty likely to be the real deal. The case is definitely real. That's one thing I can show you here. Let's have a look. I went to find a version of this case, and yeah, definitely if you look at the internals, okay, this is a little bit more modern than 78 because it's got the new latch on. This is an 80s model, but yeah, the interior and all of that looks totally correct. So I'm going to say very least the case is real, and I do think that the guitar is real as well. There we go, last picture of the case, and there we go, back to this. In fact, there you go, you can see here where that stop tail is, and if we reference that to the edge of that P90, it almost goes through the middle, and it's almost in line with the top of that knob. So what I'd like to do is I would really like to go over and look at Peach guitars and see if this lines up. Now the first thing you'll notice, obviously this is a gold top, not a black one, and looking at the price, only an extra 300 quid for something that is in much better condition. Obviously it's sold now, but there we go. And if you look, this knob, it seems slightly too high. They're not parallel, but this way they are parallel, as in the other one. In fact, if anything, this one's less parallel. But you can see here that that stop tail position does line up pretty much with the top of that pot, and also with the center of that P90. So I'm absolutely 100% certain that this is the real deal. And let's have a look at the headstock, because this is the thing. This is seeming to be slightly aging and discoloring. Now, if we go back over and find that same shot, it could well be that that has just aged. It looks a lot darker than the Les Paul, and if you look, truss rod cover, period tuners, let's have a look at those as well. There we go, period correct tuners on this guitar, and again you can see the serial number on this one because it is a lot easier to see on a maple neck guitar. In fact, both of them will be maple neck guitars, but that serial number is difficult to see. But if you look at the tuner style on both, yeah, absolutely identical. Might have a little bit of a knock on that one. It shouldn't have been at that sort of angle, and in fact they're a little bit funky, but whereas these are much straighter. But I do believe they are the same type of tuners. And Peach guitars, absolutely 100% reputable seller. I've never heard of Peach guitars selling a fake. This has got all of the, it's a very good condition guitar, isn't it? Really, really nice for 1978, and a good price as well. Personally, I love the look of the gold top with the P90s. I don't like the pick guard, as you know, but I really do like the look of this guitar in general. It is a nice looking axe. This, I'm thinking possibly for the price, 2,149, I think it's been somewhat spoilt by having a conversion to a tremolo, and also it's a Fender style bridge. Well, actually it looks to me like it may be an aftermarket, maybe something like a Wilkinson or something similar to that. You can see the trem bar hole there, but it looks to me like they've screwed this down and stop tailed it anyway, so that is a real shame. You can definitely see that little hole there. So I really appreciate the heads up from my buddy Chris Hawkins, But looking around at various different sites, and these are just the best ones. I was searching for an hour or so this morning, but these are the best comparison I could find. I know it's a gold top, but if you look at the comparison and the positioning of everything, I'm going to say that the shape, the position of the strap button, the single cut at the bottom, the point at which it joins the body, all pretty much identical. This does seem to fan out just a little bit more. I think it's a very, very tricky call to make, but I think this could well be a modified 78 Gibson Les Paul Pro Deluxe, but I am very, very willing to be called out on this, and I think that it's very, very tricky to make a call on these things sometimes. I certainly would not be paying anything like that kind of price when you can get similar at a much better overall price. There we go, Gibson Les Paul Pro Gold Top 1978 used, much better condition, all original appointments and features. A little bit of, oh no, that's the S of Peach Guitars by the look of it. I don't know, that might be a little bit of damage there. Let's see if we can have a little closer look and see if that is, no, there's no damage. So yeah, I just think that perhaps it's a little overpriced, but I don't think it's a fake. Let me know in the comments section, as always guys, if you do think that this might be a fake. I know that horn is a little bit funky, but all of the positions of everything else and everything else sort of leads me to believe that this is just a shameful ruination of a guitar by trying to convert a stop tail into a trem guitar. Really look forward to your comments, as always, love reading them. If you haven't yet, please do hit that subscribe button and you will get all of the extra features that unlocks on my channel. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this, give it a thumbs up and a like. I'll be back as soon as I can with the very best content I can. Thank you to everybody that has responded to my recent surveys on the community tab. I'm trying to ensure that I do everything that you guys want me to do, and I have been taking a lot of notice the fact that you want to see more of these Chinese fake guitar expose videos, etc. So that's why this one this morning, and that's why I'll try and do a few more for you. Okay, I'll be back with the very best I can just as soon as I can. In the meantime, as always, you take really good care.
I know that you're cheap.